Right guys, Jack here, JBF Music and Guitar Lessons. What I've got for you today is a reaction analysis to the amazing Tommy Emmanuel. I do know this guy a little bit. Years and years ago I listened to his version of Somewhere Over the Rainbow and it just gave me the fear. It's so far beyond anything I can do on acoustic. But anyway, I had a request through Patreon. If you want to make one of your own, you can hit me up at patreon.com/JBF Music. But it was to check out a cover of Tommy Emmanuel's Guitar Boogie. I couldn't think of what the Guitar Boogie actually sounded like off the top of my head, so I thought what I'd do is check out this one first. These might be together one video, they might be separate ones. I don't know which one will come out first. Future Jack will have to just decide that in the editing process. But I know how good the standard of his playing is, so this is bound to be pretty good. Let's just crack into it. Oh yeah, and if you are new here, I'm going to talk about stuff that's going on and break it down kind of in real time. If you don't want that and you just want to listen to the original, this probably isn't the video for you.
Alright.
So he's clicking, just give himself a tempo. Sounds stupid, but if you count in before you play, it's normally a much better performance. So he's going with nice. Bends on acoustic are difficult to do. Nice jazz chords to accompany the boogie rhythm, right? So it's one of these where he's playing like the bass line on the guitar and then kind of filling out the chords as well. It just looks like he's really enjoying himself too, which is always a bonus. Really hitting the strings with a really good attack as well. Particularly on those fast lines, they really cut through. Some like Al Di Meola savage picking. Jazzy boogie here as well, right? Really great use of these kind of smaller chord voicings, so it doesn't get too muddy, the sound. Seamlessly putting in all these blues lines. Was that a big sweep? Sorry, I'm putting that one back. I think he just did a huge sweep there. Okay, that's going on again. That was insane. It was like lightning speed sweeping there. Sweep picking's basically where you run the pick across the strings in one direction, like that way or that way, so you can run through an arpeggio quickly. I don't know what one he did there. It looked like it's some sort of power chord type one that I've never really seen before. So I'm not too sure what he did there. It looked like it was a kind of big A major, something like that. He just did it so cleanly and flawlessly, you know. These things are not easy to do, hitting the strings this hard and at this kind of speed as well. Using a lot of downward pick slanting. You can find out what I mean by that with the eye that will be up there. Strumming quite lightly here, so there is dynamics in the performance. One of those guys where it's just really beautiful dynamics here. His left hand is so fluid, he makes it look so easy, and it's not. And you can see his leg still going, so when he was clicking in, that tempo he set off with, it's keeping up. Making good use of the open strings as well. Pull offs that he's doing. Some percussive hits. Just mute the strings, hit the guitar, right? Okay. He knows it. So that's trem picking, which is a technique by itself. You just pick the string really quick. Like, a technique by itself isn't too difficult. You know, the faster you go to keep it clean is difficult, but what he's doing here that is incredibly impressive is going from that string to this string. because there's such a big gap between them, it's very difficult to get from this one to this one while trem picking, staying in time and keeping it clean. And I think in his head he probably could have done it a bit cleaner, and that's why he's laughing here a little bit. It still sounds amazing to me. Yeah. Another point on his technique there, I was talking about the downward pick slanting. In a nutshell, you see how his arm's like this? That's what that is. You can also notice that what he's doing is he's anchoring his fingers on the scratch plate. The advantage of doing this is it gives you more of an anchor or reference point. If your hand's floating, then plenty of guys can play floating just fine, but a lot of people like myself, and Tommy by the looks of it, prefer a point of reference. You've just got a bit more security that you know where you are, and when you move the pick you're going to hit the string. It's just an extra kind of layer of precaution when you're doing this, you know, technical stuff. These cool little slides as well, so it's almost like a kind of a blues slide type feel. Nice. The chords he's using are just very, very tasteful. They're making it sound more interesting, a bit jazzier, but not too demanding on us as listeners. Feels like he's winding up for the end. That sounded like it might have been that chromatic run there. Sounded like it might have been Django Reinhardt's trick where you just use one finger for it. I have covered that before as well, so I'll link to it with the eye up there. Let's just hear it again. Yeah, you can kind of catch it there rather than seeing his fingers going kind of mad like that. It looks like he's just sliding one up. Look really closely, just about here. There. So I think what he's doing is using different fingers on these strings. And then from here, probably just sliding one finger up and picking it in time. So rather than just being a kind of sporadic, kind of hoping for the best, he's trained himself that he can pick each note with one finger at these ridiculously high speeds. A little bit of hybrid picking going on to finish it off. So this has mainly been a plectrum piece, but you can see from this angle these fingers start to come in and pick other strings. You call that hybrid picking. So rather than being finger style where you're just using your fingers, or kind of plectrum where you just use the plectrum, you bring in a little bit of the fingers. If you've never tried it before, it's well worth doing because it really opens up your playing, but it's very difficult to begin with. About 5 endings to this song so far. It's great. It's a nice percussive hit again. Cool. Superb, isn't it? Right, what are we going to break down? There's lots of choices. I'm spoiled for choice in terms of things I could break down here. I think I just want to have a quick look at kind of the easier stuff in the intro to explain a wee bit about some of the jazzy chords and the boogie rhythm he's got going on. So just before he breaks into the kind of basic boogie pattern that we all know and love so well, he's doing this kind of thing and then goes to these cool chords. What is it? So this is like in E, which is a very guitar friendly key, right? Because you can use most of the open strings and that kind of thing. You can use the G if you want to have a minor tonality, but want to stray away from the theory. So he's doing a kind of that kind of vibe on just like an E power chord. Open 2-2 on the low E string and then the D, right? Now the chords he had here sound to me like it's C9, so it's like a dominant 7 with a 9 on it. So we got this kind of shape where you're going nothing on the E string, 3, 2, 3, 3, and the fingers that we tend to use for this because it's the most comfortable are 2, 1, 3, 4, right? So that's a C9. Then what he's doing is dropping it down most of them, like these 3 fingers, but keeping his little finger here. So we now have nothing on the E again. We've got a 2, 1, 2, 3. So this is a B dominant 7 sharp 9. You might recognise this as a Hendrix chord, but he's playing it down here in B. The reason he's playing this is because B is like the 5 chord to the E. If you go up an E major scale, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, the 5th note you hit is a B. So if you play a dominant chord on a B, musically it really wants to resolve to that E, which is kind of the tonal centre. So it's a nice little kind of turnaround to go from a dominant 7 that's a step above where you want it to be, down to a dominant 7 that's on that 5, and then you get to resolve to your home, your 1 chord, right? So that move, and in context you had something like, okay, I'll slow that down a wee bit. So for a kind of boogie rhythm, there's lots of stuff you can do. I'll give you a basic shape and then I'll break down what he's doing here. So you can have, we'll do this in E because that's where the song is, right? You can play the open E, the 3rd fret is game, as is the 4th. On the A string, you can play the open A. You can also play the 2, the 4, and the same shape on the D string. So those are all fair game. There's tons of variations you can do. You mess around with those with that kind of dun 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 dun. That's a swan gallop type of rhythm. And you can find all sorts of cool things. What he's doing here is going. Okay, so that's the very first part of it. So you got 2 on the E, just the open string, 2 on this 4th fret. So he's going up to that 2nd fret on the E, 4th fret, and I think this is a pull off back to that 2nd fret. So far you've got. You want to roll your first finger over to the 2nd fret on the D, play that twice. I'm going to go back down to that 4th fret on the A. So you got. Back down to the 2nd fret. Then you're going to slide what sounds to me like he's kind of doing 3 to 4 on that low E. And then 2nd fret on the A. So that all together slowed down. So, well, it's not too out there as a pattern. He is playing it at a really quite demanding speed. So the way Tommy is playing this is quite close to the bridge, because you get more of a kind of spanky bright sound. You can hear a huge difference compared to like if I play it here, which is much softer, more kind of full and a bit hollower sounding. If you look at his hand and his technique, he is really doing this downward pick slanting thing where he's going down, up like that. And the reason I talk about this is it basically means you're not having to think about picking so much, because the pick's orientated in such a way that you're gonna hit the string. If you try to do this starting on a down and you have your pick angled up this way, you're not going to be able to get to the A string. You're going to be kind of stuck behind the E. So he's angled this way, and he can get over the strings using this picking system. Even that little bit is quite a workout in and of itself. Check out Patreon if you want to support the channel, like what I'm doing. If you want more videos like this, check out these, or hit subscribe to keep up to date with the channel. If you can leave a comment and all that great stuff, it really helps against the battle against the algorithm. But take it easy, guys, and have a good one.